This is Dave Chappelle turning what could have been just an awkward dance in LA into a bigger punchline about privilege and race.
My problem has never been with transgender people. My problem has always been with the dialogue about transgender people. I just feel like these things should not be discussed in front of the blacks. It's fucking insulting, all this talk about how these people feel inside. Since when has America given a fuck how any of us feel inside? And I cannot shake this awful suspicion that the only reason everybody is talking about transgenders is because white men want to do it. That's right. I just said that. If it was just women that felt that way, or black dudes and Mexican dudes being like, hey, y'all, we feel like girls inside, they'd be like, shut up, nigger. No one asked you how you felt. Come on, everybody, we have strawberries to pick. It reeks of white privilege. You never asked yourself why it was easier for Bruce Jenner to change his gender than it was for Cassius Clay to change his fucking name? And if I were to be brutally honest, the only reason I ever been mad at the transgender community is because I was at a club in LA and danced with one of these niggas for 6 songs straight. I had no idea. And then the lights came up and I saw them knuckles. I said, oh no! And everybody was laughing at me, how world star. I said, why didn't you say anything? Then I heard that sultry voice. I didn't say anything, Dave Chappelle, because I was having a wonderful time, and I wasn't sure how you'd feel about it. I said, you knew how I'd feel. And she said, I'm going home. I don't want any trouble from you. I said, home? It's only 2 songs left. I mean, we might as well finish the night. And we ended up having breakfast together. Oh, grow up. That doesn't make me gay. I just titties are as real as any titties in L.A. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I was just borrowing a little friction from a stranger. Whoops. Network television, they have a department that's called Standards and Practices. This is the department that tells you what you can and cannot say on television. And if you're doing your job well, you should never hear from them. But if you're making Chappelle's show, you'll hear from these motherfuckers all the time. And remember, this is 15 years ago. I made a mistake. I didn't even know I had done anything wrong. I had written a sketch that had the word faggot in it. So I had to go to Standards and Practices. They called me up. I don't know why they're calling me, but I like the lady that runs the department. She's usually really fair and was one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. So she sits me down. We have a nice conversation. She tells me, oh, the sketches are great. I go, oh, fantastic. Well, then why am I here? She said, because, David, there's no way that you can ever say the word faggot on our network. I didn't know I did anything wrong. I didn't try to defend myself. I said, all right, I'll take it out. Have a good afternoon. And as I was leaving, it occurred to me, hey, Renee, quick question. It's just a question. Seriously, I want to know, like, why is it that I can say the word nigger with impunity, but I can't say the word faggot? And she said, because, David, you are not gay. I said, well, Renee, I'm not a nigger either.
This isn't just a punchline, it's a brutal comparison about violence, censorship, and who gets silenced. Dave's not just pointing at hypocrisy, he's daring us to notice it. Is that crossing a line or exposing one?
These are not good times for the blacks. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, right? Police are killing us again. Very unfortunate set of circumstances because we were doing very well. You know, America has a racial hot seat. I think we can all agree that that's the truth. And we can also agree that that hot seat is traditionally occupied by African Americans in general, African American men in particular. Although I can see that in recent years, that seat has been occupied by Mexicans, and I dare say Arabs. And we, the black Americans, would like to thank you both for your sacrifice and your struggle. We needed a break. We needed a goddamn break. We all go through something, but at least I can leave my backpack someplace. If you Arab and forget the backpack, you got about 20 minutes before they send that robot to blow your shit up. You can kiss all that engineering homework goodbye, Fuhad. Now ISIS is #1 on the terrorist charts. And ISIS is fucking scary. Because if ISIS catches you, they're going to cut your head off. That's what they do. I've seen them do it. It was fucking awful. He looked right in the camera and say, Obama, I am back. I saw that shit. I said, oh my God. Don't like it. How is this guy cutting people's heads off? I can't even post a dick pic, and this motherfucker is decapitating people.
This isn't just Dave joking about Trump, it's him exposing why millions still see Trump as real. He's not praising, he's revealing a truth politicians never admit. I'll break down why that moment mattered. But you tell me, was Trump being honest or just playing the crowd?
And I'm watching the news now, they're declaring the end of the Trump era. Now, okay, I can see how in New York you might believe this is the end of his era. I'm just being honest with you. I live in Ohio amongst the poor whites. A lot of you don't understand why Trump was so popular, but I get it because I hear it every day. He's very loved. And the reason he's loved is because people in Ohio have never seen somebody like him. He's what I call an honest liar. That first debate, I'd never seen anything like it. I've never seen a white male billionaire screaming at the top of his lungs, "This whole system is rigged," he said. And across the stage was a white woman, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, sitting over there looking at him like, "No, it's not." I said, "Now, wait a minute, bro. It's what he said." And the moderator said, "Well, Mr. Trump, if in fact the system is rigged, as you suggest, what would be your evidence?" Remember what he said, bro? He said, "I know the system is rigged because I use it." I said, "God damn." And then he pulled out an Illuminati membership card and chopped a line of cocaine up and did it right into the podium. You ever heard someone say something that true? And then Hillary Clinton tried to punch him in the taxes. She said, "This man doesn't pay his taxes." He right back. "That makes me smart." And then he said, "If you want me to pay my taxes, then change the tax code. But I know you won't, because your friends and your donors enjoy the same tax breaks that I do." And with that, my friends, a star was born. No one had ever seen anything like that. No one had ever seen somebody come from inside of that house, outside, and tell all the commoners, "We are doing everything that you think we are doing," inside of that house. They just went right back in the house and started playing the game again. The Democrats were sore losers. I'm a Democrat, and I'm telling you, as soon as he won, they started saying all that he's colluding with Russia, It was very embarrassing as a Democrat, but as time went on, we all came to learn he was probably colluding with Russia. I even look at his wife different now. His wife is beautiful, no question about it, but she looks like the kind of chick that James Bond would smash but not trust.
This isn't just a wild blackmail story, it's Dave unpacking shame, ego, and control in the most twisted way possible. He turns violation into comedy, but does laughing mean he's reclaiming power or hiding from it? You decide.
I got myself extorted, which happens in this business. I come home from the road, there was a FedEx sitting on the kitchen table, and it was addressed to me, so I opened it. I don't know who delivered it. And there was a video cassette inside with a note written on it that said, "Gotcha." Oh my God. Can you imagine? I freaked out. I tore the whole house apart trying to find the VCR. I hadn't seen a tape in like over a decade. And I watched the tape and it was awful. They got me. It was a tape of me. I was fucking a girl, okay? But it was from before I was married. But it was not a good look. And I felt sick to my stomach. And I looked up at the clock, and then I saw my wife was coming home in 10 minutes, and I just panicked. I jerked off to the tape real fast, and then I called the FBI, who, by the way, made me feel much better. I mean, they didn't say they were going to cash him for sure, but they had the demeanor of some competent people that would cash him. So I didn't worry about it too much. And then not even a week later, 5 days later, I come home, and there's another video cassette just sitting on my porch. As soon as I saw it, I just called the police like, "They've done it again. You should probably look for a guy with bell bottoms on because I don't know who the fuck is sending tapes." And that second tape was the worst I'd ever seen in my life. It was awful. Career-ending bad. It was a tape of me jerking off to the tape a week earlier. I don't even know how they'd even get such a thing.
This isn't just a punchline, it's Dave Chappelle confronting who gets to live and who's left behind. It's a brutal, brilliant take on race, privilege, and the cost of being invisible. But here's the question, is this comedy or a warning?
Ebola was in Texas. Ebola made a visit to that man in Dallas. 5 days, that man melted to death. What happened to the brother in Dallas? Where was the secret serum is what we all said. I remember in the beginning of Ebola, there were 2 American doctors that got sick in Africa. They flew them in a private jet straight to Atlanta to the CDC. I didn't even know CDC saw patients. There it was said they administered what the New York Times called a secret serum. I don't know what's in it. It's just like Colonel Sanders' recipe. But both of these motherfuckers survived. These doctors, thank God, are healthy. They are out there somewhere tonight at Whole Foods, touching vegetables, walking around. Everything's okay. "Hey, Frank, how are you?" "Oh, you didn't hear? I had Ebola last week, but I'm doing all right now. I was bleeding out of my eyes and anus, so I got concerned, but I'm okay." What happened to the brother in Dallas? They just rubbed some Vicks on that nigga's chest. Good luck, little buddy. I knew he wasn't gonna make it. I saw in the New York Times, they said Ebola is the new AIDS. Whew. Isn't that something? Here I am thinking that old AIDS was working just fine, and they already have a new AIDS out. Isn't that amazing how they do that? Isn't it weird how there's a disease that just starts in 1980 and it doesn't kill anybody but niggas, fags, and junkies? Isn't that a fucking amazing coincidence that this disease hates everybody that old white people hate? I think either God is white or the government hid that shit in disco balls.
Watch how Dave Chappelle turns Juicy Smoothie's hate crime hoax into one of the funniest breakdowns of police work you've ever heard.
He said he's walking down the street in Chicago and white dudes come up to him and say, "Hey man, aren't you that faggot nigger from Empire?" Does that sound like how white people talk? I know white people. They don't talk like that. Are you that faggot nigga from Empire? They would never say that. It sounds like something that I would say. If you're racist and homophobic, you're not even gonna know who this nigga is. You can't watch Empire. Black people never feel sorry for the police, but this time we even felt sorry for the police. Can you imagine if you was a police veteran taking this kid's police report? Okay, Mr. Smouye, please tell me what happened. All right, 2 a.m. You left the house at 2 a.m. It's minus 16 degrees. All right. You were walking. All right. And where were you going? Subway. Sandwiches? That's when the men approached you? Did you see them? Do you have any? Okay, what they have on? MAGA hats. MAGA hats on in Chicago. Excuse me one second, Mr. Smouye. Frank, come here for a second. Find out where Kanye West was last night.
This joke isn't just about ditching Flint. It's Dave exposing how fame can twist loyalty, blur values, and trigger public judgment. Would you have stood your ground or folded too?
I'm happy really to see black people come. You know, a lot of black people don't fuck with me like they used to. But there's a lot of reasons. There's a few reasons you don't see black people at my shows. One is because obviously black people have slower internet connections. I mean, that would be my guess. I don't know what. Actually, my own actions drew a wedge between me and the community I hold so dear. A couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to be in Flint, Michigan for a charity benefit that was supposed to raise awareness for the appalling condition of the water in Flint. I don't know if you know this, but the water in Flint is fucking poisonous. It's actually making people sick. I mean, Hollywood people like, so what? At least they have water. But this water's fucked up. So a lot of black celebrities flew into Flint, and they did a tremendous charity benefit. And I was on the schedule to appear. So the reason a lot of people haven't heard about this benefit, it was the same day as the Oscars. I was on my way to the airport to go to Flint, and then Chris Rock calls me and is like, "Hey Dave, I got a ticket for you for the Oscars. Can you make it?" And I was like, "Sure, I'm on my way to the airport right now." Oh, come on, man. What am I gonna do about that water? What am I, a fucking superhero? I need to have fun. I need to live too. I didn't fuck that water up. Stevie Wonder was there. They didn't need me. I've never been to the Oscars. You've seen the movies I make. I was excited as fuck. I knew I was gonna get in some trouble because when I was walking in the red carpet, the black press came after me. "Excuse me, brother." When you hear somebody call you brother too much, something terrible's about to happen. "Excuse me, brother. And then I looked back and the motherfucker had a tuxedo with the kente cloth tie. I said, "Uh-oh." He said, "I just want to ask you a couple questions." I said, "What publication are you with?" He said, "Me, I'm with the Daily Bongo." I said, "Daily Bongo? What the fuck? Who the fuck reads this?" He said, "Listen, brother, I just want to ask you a quick question. You understand that this year, this is a boycott for the Oscars. So I'm just wondering what made you, of all people, cross the motherfucking picket line and be here tonight." I said, "Boycott? I haven't been working in 10 years. What do you mean boycott? I've been on strike. Y'all niggas didn't stop working. I had to watch fucking Key and Peele do my show every night."
This isn't just a history joke, it's Dave's wild take on how war, gender roles, and economic power reshaped women forever. It's hilarious but also uncomfortably real, so what do you think? Is he exposing truth or just poking the bear?
Back when we were growing up, only black people were mad. Now, everybody's just trying to get in on the act. I try to think to myself, well, when did everyone get mad? And then I realized this happened before we were born. This is a long way to go, but probably started in the Second World War. Think about it. All these black men, millions of black men, leave the United States for the first time, go over to Europe with America's armed forces and fight the Nazis. and make more money fighting Nazis than they ever dreamed they would make in the United States. And a lot of those men, while they were in Europe, just to be real, not to be crass, a lot of them probably got their dick sucked by white women. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this was World War II Europe, and these were desperate times, and penises were being sucked for shoelaces and chocolate and very frivolous things. And it's very hard to come back to America and sit on the back of the bus after you've been in the south of France getting your dick sucked for a Crunch Bar or some crazy shit like that. That's a life-changing experience. And while that was happening in Europe, here in America, for the first time, women entered the workforce en masse by the millions. All the men were gone. Someone had to run the factory. The ladies did it. This was the first generation of American women to have independent income in mass. And when the men came back, the women weren't the same. American women had grown. They were uttering phrases that no woman on earth had ever spoken before. Things like no and shut the fuck up and I don't feel like it.
This isn't just a heckler moment. It's Dave pushing into the raw tension between race, gender, and who gets to speak on pain. He jokes, she snaps. But was he crossing a line or just exposing one?
And I was on stage not too long ago. I was in Syracuse, New York. Yeah, for Syracuse, but the show didn't go so good. All because I was talking about Bill Cosby a little bit. Not a little bit, I'll be honest. Talked about him for like maybe 25 minutes. And a woman stood up in the back of the room and she screamed out, "You are a fucking asshole for saying these things." Instantly I felt, like bad. Not bad about what I was saying. I just felt bad, like, oh, that's too bad she doesn't like the show. I didn't realize it at first. But not only did she say that, she was rushing the stage. By the time I just saw this shadowy figure fucking charging up the aisle towards me in full fight mode. I was horrified. I said, oh my God, I'm gonna kick this bitch in the face. Lucky for me, I didn't have to. Security tackled her, but it was a really fucking horrifying scene. A scuffle ensued, and then finally she screamed out to me, "Women suffer." I said, I know. And ladies, I need you to know that I know. I need you to know, seriously, there's a lot of men in this room that identify themselves as feminists. I would include myself in that. Don't ever forget, we all have mothers and daughters and sisters and wives, and we want to see all these women do well and not be held back by their gender. There's a lot of men like that in this room. There's a lot of men like that in the world, or as we are known on the streets, bitch-ass niggas. But as this woman was wrestling and screaming at me, I started to take offense. And I'm gonna be honest, race was involved. She was a young white woman, well-intentioned, but it's like not thinking it all the way through. How the fuck are you going to yell at a black man about discrimination? She didn't get it. She just kept going. Women suffer. I know. Women suffer. Same team. Women suffer. I know. And this is where she went too far. We suffer just like you. Slow your roll, bitch. You suffer, yes, but not like me. Not like us. She goes, suffering is suffering. What's the difference? I said, come on, white woman, you know what it is. You was in on the heist, you just don't like your cut.
This is how Dave Chappelle turns getting left out of Diddy's wild parties into pure comedy, exposing the paranoia and self-doubt behind the joke.
Did you know anything about those golf parties? I'd be like, nah, man, I didn't know anything about golf. And they all look at me like, and they'd be like, well, how all these people you know was at the golf, but you's the only one that wasn't at the golf. And I thought about it for a minute. I said, oh my God, I'm ugly. That's a tough way to find that out. Can you imagine if you and me reading the newspaper and found out everyone in Hollywood had an orgy behind your back? Like none of y'all called me? Well, it really hurts. I'm glad they didn't call me though, because the stories that come out about it are crazy. I saw one thing on the internet, so I'm not sure this is true. Probably doubt it's true. But I saw it. Some guy who said he knew Puff was like, yeah, man. He's like, I was at the golf one time and I went in the back room and Puff was in there with Carl Winslow, the dad from Family Matters. He was smashing. And I was like, Puff, what are you doing? And he was like, yeah, it feels good to make another man do your bidding. And I was like, oh my God. Carl Winslow from Family Matters was there and I wasn't invited? It's worse than I thought. Or maybe I'm not ugly. Look at my face. This is not necessarily a handsome face, but it's not an ugly face. But if you really study my face clearly, I have snitch energy. Oh, I look like I'll tell. The last thing you want to see the orgy is me across the room looking at you like, you watching at home, you might not be famous, but I bet you ain't perfect. Nobody is perfect. The idea is, as you live your life, you're supposed to evolve and grow past your mistakes. But if you get to be 55, And Puffy is 55. He doesn't look old, but he's paying half price to the movies. Ain't nothing wrong getting older, but if you 55 and you got 1,000 bottles of baby oil in the house, clearly, can't stop, won't stop. Because I'm 51, and I'm telling you, this is true. I can't remember a single time I ever threw an empty bottle of baby oil in the trash. I don't think I've ever finished a bottle of baby oil in my life. If we went to my mother's house tonight, she probably got the same baby oil we had when I was a little boy with the pink top, and somehow Puffy was all the way down to the last.
Dave Chappelle tears into Trump's plan to bring Chinese jobs and coal to America, and you won't believe how he breaks it down.
All this motherfucker's ideas sound like high people ideas. Like he doesn't think these things through before he tells us. He just tells us what he's thinking as soon as it occurs to him. This shit was nuts. I'm gonna go to China and I'm gonna get those jobs from China and bring them back here to America. For what? So iPhones can be $9,000? Leave that job in China where it belongs. None of us want to work that hard. What is he thinking? I want to wear Nikes. I don't want to make them. What are you doing? Stop trying to give us Chinese jobs. I am going to bring back coal. Coal? I'm not even exaggerating. I have never in my life even seen a lump of coal. I honestly don't even know what coal is for. If you're gonna have digging around in the dirt looking for shit, find me some truffles. That's what I'm about.
This is Dave Chappelle turning a $5 dumpster story into comedy that exposes America's double standards better than the news ever could.
Anyone that knows anything about Ohio knows that even the word Ohio is an old Native American word. It means literally land of poor white people. And I don't know what's going on down here, but in my experience, poor white people love, and I mean they fucking love heroin. They can't seem to get enough of it. I didn't even know what I was looking at first. I was just driving like, why are all these white people so sleepy out here? It's really bad. Matter of fact, I was coming out of a nightclub the other night in Dayton, and I'd parked my car in the alley, and no one was out there. I didn't have no bodyguards or nothing. I was home. I figured everything was fine. And as soon as I opened my car door, all by myself, suddenly one of these heroin-addicted whites just pops out of a trash can. It scared the shit out of me. I screamed, ah! And then I realized it was a woman. She was fucked up. She said, hey man, relax, okay? I'm sick, all right? I need some drugs, man. Please, I'll suck your dick for $5, man. I was like, ugh. Obviously, I'm joking. This opioid crisis is a crisis. I see it every day. It's as bad as they say. It's ruining lives. It's destroying families. Sadly, you know what it reminds me of? Seeing it? It reminds me of us. These white folks look exactly like us during the crack epidemic. You know, it's really crazy to see. And all this shit they talk about on the news about how divided the nation is, I don't believe it. I feel like nowadays we're getting a real good look at each other. It's wild because I even have insight into how the white community must have felt watching the black community go through the scourge of crack, because I don't care either. Michael Jackson sucks my dick. And that was my first sexual experience. If I'm starting here, then sky's the limit. I don't think he did it. You know what? Even if he did do it, you know what I mean? I mean, it's Michael Jackson. I know more than half the people in this room have been molested in their lives. But it wasn't no goddamn Michael Jackson, was it? This kid got his dick sucked by the king of pop. All we get is awkward Thanksgivings for the rest of our lives. You know how good it must have felt to go to school the next day after that Hey, Billy, how was the weekend? How was my weekend?
Mac and cheese, fork or spoon?
You know, I would hate to guess. A white person must have asked this question. That's fork food, baby.
Yeah, fork. You gotta do the fork. Yeah.
Who has soupy mac and cheese? White people.
Next up, Call of Duty or Fortnite?
Well, that's easy. Call of Duty. Fortnite is the crack of video games. I don't even touch that stuff.
I haven't messed with it either because I know I'll get addicted to it. No.
I got my son a copy of Fortnite. I didn't see him for 6 months.
All right, let's go into fashion here. Skinny jeans or baggy jeans?
I'm not even wearing pants right now.
Okay, very good.
You never wear pants so tight that you have to decide which leg your goes in.
All right, which is better, finished basement or nice yard?
Oh, boy. Now, okay, this is a poor person question. Kind of person with my kind of money is going to be making these. Should I finish the basement or mow the grass?
Best way to enjoy a concert, standing or sitting?
If I'm at a music show,
Yep.
I'd rather be standing.
Correct.
If I'm at a strip club, I'd rather be sitting.
All right, okay. Yeah, all right. When it comes to cooking, half-baked or infused?
You know what, man? I went to one of those weed-infused dinners once, and we was talking about mac and cheese. I ate this mac and cheese. I didn't know it had weed in it. And then I saw my mother, and she goes, son, you look tired. And I said, Mama, I'm high on mac and cheese. She knew something was wrong because I was eating it with the spoon.
Come on, that's how you do it.
It was Kevin Hart's dream to host the Oscars. And I remember when he told me, because I was thinking to myself, it's an awfully strange dream for an African American. Kind of dreams of hosting the Oscars. Kevin did, that's who. And he did it. Against all the odds, Kevin became the most famous comedian this world has ever seen, and he got the job that only one black man before him had had. He was going to host the 80th Oscars. And I don't know what you know about Kevin, but I know Kevin Hart is damn near perfect. In fact, Kevin is precisely 4 tweets shy of being perfect. 10 years ago, Kevin had made some very homophobic comments. I'm not going to repeat what he said. All right, I'll tell you what he said. But just remember, these were not my words. These were Kevin's words. It was a long time ago. And I'm paraphrasing because I'm not good at telling other people's jokes. Okay, Kevin said that if his little son was demonstrating or exhibiting homosexual behavior around the house, that he'd chastise him. He'd say, hey, that's gay. And then he said he would smash a dollhouse over that child's head. Ooh, the gay community was furious. And I don't blame them. I got a lot of gay friends. And all of them, 100% of them, all have told me fucking horror stories about the shit they had to go through just to be themselves. Crazy, crazy stories. And in all those stories, I gotta say, not one of them has ever mentioned anything like their father smashing a fucking dollhouse over their head. Because clearly Kevin was joking. Think about it. You would have to buy this nigga dollhouse to break it over his head in the first place. The gay community was upset, and then they put so much pressure on the Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences that they went to Kevin and said, if you don't apologize to that community, then you cannot host these Oscars. And then Kevin said, fuck it, I quit. And then he went on every talk show in America and apologized for 6 weeks. First of all, I didn't even know Kevin was as successful as he was. I found that shit out the hard way. I was at home and my son busted and he said, Dad, I need $250. He's only 12 years old, so I freaked out. What's going on? Is somebody trying to kill you? He said, no, Kevin Hart's coming to town and I wanted to see his show. I said, well, how much are the tickets? He said, they're $125. I said, God damn, mine are only $80. I said, well, why do you need $250 then? He goes, because I want to go with you, Dad, please. So I took him to the show, and we sit right up front, then Kevin takes the stage, crowd goes nuts. Thousands of people. I was furious. The longer the show went on, the madder I got. It was maddening. These people were fucking holding their stomachs. My son was slapping his knee. I'm like, I do this too. Kevin says, good night. The crowd goes crazy, and then everyone starts walking to his door and the lights come on. People are pushing past me and nobody's recognized me. I'm like, man, this place sucks. I said, come on, son, let's get out of here. And then my son looks back at me and he says, Dad, please, I have to meet him. I was like, oh my God. So I took him backstage and one of Kevin's goons opened the door. Hey, what's up, Dave Chappelle? What you doing, man? It's good to see you, brother. Just then Kevin came around the corner to see who it was. What? Oh, shit. What's up, Dave? Come on back. I was just about to have dinner. I don't know if you guys ate, but you're welcome to join me if you'd like. And then my son pushed past me some cold. He goes, actually, Mr. Hart, we haven't eaten in several hours. It was Tuesday night. This motherfucker was having Sunday dinner. It was steaks, chops, corn with butter all over it. My son was eating all fast, embarrassing me. I was like, slow down, son. And I looked over in the corner and there was a box, custom-made jerseys for the local team. And on the back, they stitched on the K Hart. Kevin saw me staring at that box, and he went over and grabbed one of them jerseys, walked right to my son. He said, hey, little man, I want you to have this. And my son's like, thanks, Mr. Hart. This is when I got mad. He goes, if your father ever makes you mad, put that on. You have to be there to understand, but man, when that guy tackled me, it was like it's like a movie or something. You got to picture this. Picture a famous person you like. Every famous person you could imagine was at that show. It was like the biggest night that Hollywood had ever seen. And when that guy tackled me, he cleared the bleachers. I had to watch the tape afterwards to know this happened, but as soon as he tackled me, Jamie Foxx was the first motherfucker that jumped out of the crowd. He was wearing a white cowboy hat like he knew this shit was gonna happen to him. Never seen this nigga in a cowboy hat before. And Jamie started chasing that motherfucker around like any given Sunday. And that kid was fast as shit, was juking and shaking, and it broke Jamie's ankles, and he just kept running. And then Jon Stewart from The Daily Show ran from backstage and jumped at this motherfucker like Super Jew. He was like, ah! And the kid seen Jon coming, so he jumped back, and Jon went flying that way. And this kid was fast. And then he turned around, he sees the emergency exit, he starts running for the emergency exit. Just before he got to the door, motherfucking Puff Daddy from Bad Boy Records jumped in front of the door. And it was like, And then every celebrity just ran out because every celebrity saw themselves in me, and they just started beating the fuck out of that kid. And I know Chris was backstage looking like, nobody helped me. I'm transphobic, and even I was like, you look nice.
Watch how Dave's favorite person got the chance of a lifetime and then blew it on stage.
One of the coolest people I ever met was a transgender woman. And this is not a man that I knew that became a woman. This woman was trans when I met her. Lived in San Francisco. Daphne Dworman is her name. I would do 18 shows in the Bay Area, sometimes in Oakland and Dirty Hood nightclub, and she would be there, a white trans woman, laughing loud and hard at everything I said, especially the trans jokes. Very puzzling, because she was obviously trans. And one night after one of the shows, I met her. Turns out it was her dream to be a comedian, and I was her hero. Very moving. I could not dislike somebody that felt that way about me. We became fast friends. And when I made that special Sticks and Stones, right as it was coming out, I happened to be in San Francisco, and I wanted to do a show, but I needed an opening act. And I remembered that trans woman I had met. So I called her on the phone, and I called her myself. I said, hey, Daphne, this is Dave Chappelle. She couldn't believe it. And I go, I'm in San Francisco. And then she started saying a bunch of wild stuff. I was like, relax now. I don't want any pussy. I was calling because I'm doing a show, and I need an opening act. And I was wondering if you'd open the show. And she was like, fuck yeah. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but this woman had only done stand-up comedy 8 times in her life. This is little to no experience. And now she's about to open a show for what many call the GOAT. She's an amateur in stature, but in practice, she was very professional. She showed up early, which is something I appreciate, because I like people to be on time. She was dressed to the motherfucking nines. I mean, I'm transphobic, and even I was like, you look nice. Went up on the stage with all the swag of a professional comedian, grabbed that mic and walked right down the middle and looked at the crowd like a gangster. Man, you should have seen her work. Bombed for 45 minutes straight. And I am not exaggerating, young man. That show was terrible.
This is Dave Chappelle turning a random fan letter into a Caitlyn Jenner roast and a jab at how fans judge comedians.
I came back to my room late at night, and there was a note. It was like a letter on my desk. It was addressed to Mr. Cheese. So obviously, I'm going to assume that whoever wrote this letter must be an intimate friend of mine. This is not some kind of name that a person would just guess. But then I open the letter, and it turns out I don't know this person at all. It's a fan letter. You know, I'm not even used to the idea that I have fans, but I'm grateful for it. And even though I'm grateful for fans, I don't read those letters. It'd be nice if I did, but realistically, it's like, what am I, Santa Claus? I don't have time for this. Like, got shit I want to do. I'm trying to chill, read all these dreams and wishes from strangers. But I read it. I'd already opened it. So I just read the whole letter. And you know what, man? Whoever wrote this letter truly loves me. I mean, they were really fucking nice in the letter. And then they described to me what it was like to come to the show, how excited they were, how much fun they were having. And then they said that when I got to my jokes about transgenders, that they were, quote, devastated. Because it turns out that whoever wrote the letter was transgender. Now, I'm going to be real for a second. As a policy, you got to understand, I never feel bad about anything I say up here. And I would never admit this to you if I hadn't locked your phones up. To be honest, I don't even know what I said that upset that person. I have so many transgender jokes. But I feel like it was probably this joke I'm about to tell you right now. I had read in the paper that Caitlyn Jenner was contemplating posing nude in an upcoming issue of Sports Illustrated. And I know it's not politically correct to say these things, so I just figured, fuck it, I'll say it for everybody else. Yuck. I don't know why you're gonna cram some man pussy in the middle of the sports page like this. I just didn't think that was the place for it. But I wasn't saying anything like Caitlyn Jenner's a bad person. I'm not mad at her for doing it. I'm not even mad at Sports Illustrated. If I'm mad at somebody, I'm probably just mad at myself. You understand? Because deep down, I know that I am not strong enough to not look at those pictures. And I don't think I'm ready to see what she's trying to show me. So Caitlyn, goddamn, if you go through with this thing, you better go hard or go home. She said, my people have struggled for decades, honey. Decades. And I looked at them black dudes like, is there anything you niggas need to tell this bitch? Clifford. I'm exaggerating. She's actually a very nice person, and I'm cool with her now, but boy, that shit got on my nerves. And it got on my nerves because whenever someone says that to me, I know they've never seen me for themselves. They just repeat what they've heard. Any of you who have ever watched me know that I have never had a problem with transgender people. If you listen to what I'm saying, clearly, my problem has always been with white people. I have been arguing with the whites my entire career. Just when I thought I had you guys on the ropes, you changed all the rules. Oh, yeah? Yeah, motherfucker. Well, I'm a girl now, nigger, and you must treat me as such. Call me a girl, nigger. Yes, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Of course I did. I voted for her because I liked what she said vastly better than I liked what he said. To be honest with you, at that point, that was like watching Darth Vader do the I Have a Dream speech. That was mean as hell. She had already Karate Kid swept Bernie Sanders' legs from underneath him. Boy, it was hard voting for that. It didn't feel bad voting for her, but it didn't feel as good as it should have. She was gonna be our first woman president. They were gonna make coins out of this bitch. And somehow she just missed the dunk. Of course she should have beat him. Of course she should have beat him. You know what voting for her felt like? It was bittersweet. It felt like I was lucky enough to eat Halle Berry's pussy. And whilst I was doing so, she fucking farted in my face, man. You understand, I'd still do it. Boy, I wish she didn't fart in this great nation's face. Walking in here tonight, I saw the pride flags up. And I remember when I came here all those years ago, it's the first time I'd ever met a kid who was just like gay. It was never strange to us. His sexuality was the least remarkable thing about a person that could dance as well as Roger Bellamy, or there was a student that went here that used to sell drugs. This particular guy did the cardinal no-no on the streets. He did what they call not making your roll, which meant that he got some drugs on consignment and he didn't pay whoever gave him the drugs back. And whoever gave him those drugs had declared, I'm gonna come to that school and I'm gonna kill you, he said. And my man was scared, and the word got around that the goons was coming. There's a camaraderie between these students that I don't know that I've seen since. And by the time the goons showed up, every dude that went to this school, gay, straight, whatever the fuck, was all standing out front. They said, you'll have to kill all of us. And who was in front of all of them? Roger Bellamy with some leg warmers on like this. But here's what impressed me. Any other comedian I've ever seen, if they had bombed as bad as she did, would have snuck out of the back of the theater and went home and cried or something. And she didn't do that. Not only did she not leave, she found a seat right up in front. You know, when a new comedian watches an experienced comedian in comedy, we call this taking class. And this bitch took my whole class. She sat up there and was laughing as hard as she always laughs, as if nothing bad had even happened to her. And I saw her show. Something bad happened to her. She was drunk. So she starts talking to me while I'm on stage. But the way a person would talk to a television when they were alone, she's talking to me like that. That didn't bother me because I knew her. But the crowd didn't like that shit at all because she sucked. And a guy in the back of the room stood up. Daphne's hair was dyed blonde at the time, and the guy screamed out, and his energy felt wild as fuck. He said, hey, Daphne! And everybody kind of clamped, like got tense. We didn't know if it was a heckler or active shooter. And he said, does the carpet match the drapes? Yeah, it was fucked up. The whole crowd kind of groaned, because it was so, like, mean. Everybody groaned, except for Daphne. She kind of laughed, which was weird. And then she didn't even look all the way back. She said, sir, I don't have carpets. I have hardwood floors. This is my impression of the founding fathers of America when the Constitution was being written. Here it goes. Hurry up and finish that Constitution. I'm trying to get some sleep. It's not bad, right? All right, the next one's a little harder. I want to see if you can guess who it is I'm doing an impression of. All right, let me get into character. You gotta guess who it is, though. Okay, here it goes. Hey, if you do anything wrong in your life, and I find out about it, I'm gonna try to take everything away from you. And I don't care when I find out. Could be today, tomorrow, 15, 20 years from now. If I find out, you're fucking finished. Who's that? That's you. That's what the audience sounds like to me. That's why I don't be coming out doing comedy all the time, because y'all niggas is the worst motherfuckers I've ever tried to entertain in my fucking life. I was doing a nightclub in Oakland 16 years ago, and this is the first time that the trans community ever got mad at me that I knew about. And I was nobody. I just quit Chappelle's show. It was like a nothing hole-in-the-wall club, and I was doing some transgender jokes in Oakland. It was 16 years ago. My pronoun game was not as nice as it is today. I went too far. I said things like tranny and shit. I didn't know these words were bad, and a woman stood up and just gave me the business. Started screaming at me, and I'm sure it was a woman, but she kept calling me transphobic and all this shit. I'd never even heard these words before. It was really weird. I didn't trip. I just gave security the look like, get that Johnny in and remove it. And then she went to the press. And the next day, one of the gay papers wrote all the same things she had said to me about me in the paper. Misquoted the jokes and was calling me transphobic. And again, all these words, I'd never heard them before. But every time that I talked with anybody from that community since, they always repeat the talking points from that article. My least favorite of which being, and I hate this phrase, they say I was punching down on them. The fuck does that mean? Now fast forward, it's 2019. I'm in a restaurant in Ohio. And to be honest, it's not a very nice restaurant, but it's a nice restaurant if you're a white person from Ohio that's never been anywhere before. Picture Chili's. I'm sitting in the bar, I'm having a drink by myself, and the only other person in the bar is a woman, a couple stools down. And she was alone, and she was older, and that made me feel sad because it was the holidays. So I told the bartender, send that woman a drink on me. She's trying to spread the cheer, and I wish I didn't. This woman wanted to talk. She wasn't mean, she was nice, but she just wanted to talk about shit that, the nigga that's trying to get drunk, don't want to hear about this bitch remodeling her bathroom, and I'm sitting there trying to be polite. Oh, Subway tiles, word. But then she hits a lick, piqued my interest. She says, my daughter is coming home for the holidays. Oh, that's great news. I'm glad you're not going to be alone. Then she goes on and on about how great her daughter is. I guess her daughter got a new agent, and she's out in Hollywood, she's in movies and on television and all this stuff. And as she's telling me this, I'm thinking, this woman is so sweet. She probably doesn't even know who I am or what I do for a living. Because I know what your daughter's out in Hollywood doing. And then she goes, would you like to see her picture? Oh, now I don't want to see this woman's picture, but what am I going to do? I go, okay, yeah, sure, I'd love to see the picture. And I grab the picture, and this is all I say. Oh, she's very beautiful. And as she puts the picture away, she looks mean all of a sudden, like she caught me in some kind of trap. What does that face mean? And then she goes, she's transgender. And I think to myself, oh, this does know who I am. It became like a conversation between a black man and a white trans woman, and we started getting to the bottom of shit. All them questions that you think about that you'd be afraid to ask, I was just asking them, and she was answering them, and her answers were funny as shit. The crowd was falling out of their chairs. And at the end of the show, I go, oh, Daphne, I said, well, that was fun. I go, I love you to death, but I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. The whole crowd laughed, except for Daphne. Now she looks at me like I'm not her friend anymore, like I'm something bigger than me, like I'm the whole world and a guy. And she said, I don't need you to understand me. I said, what? She said, I just need you to believe, just like this, she goes, that I'm having a human experience. And when she said it, the whole crowd kind of gasped. And I gave it a Fight Club look. I said, I believe you, bitch. Because she didn't say anything about pronouns. She didn't say anything about me being in trouble. She said, just believe I'm a person and I'm going through it. I believe you because it takes one to know one. But I didn't know that if you're defending your home with a shotgun, the formula dictates that you're supposed to buy both boxes. This was not a formula that I was familiar with. It goes like this. The 6 shots in 12-gauge shotgun, so when you load the gun, you load it like this. First shot, bird shot. Next shot, buckshot, bird shot, and then after that, gun's Jamaican. Buckshot, buckshot, buckshot. She got a picture. Okay, like say I'm in bed and I'm sleeping, and suddenly my wife wakes me up. David, wake up. And I'm like, look who's coming around. And I pull my dick over the top of my pajamas. And she says, no, I hear something. I go, oh, this bitch. So I get up out of bed, grab the gun. I say, wait here, baby, I'll go check it out. Just lock the door behind me. Oh my God, she's right there in the kitchen is a heroin-addicted white, and he's digging through the change jar by the door. I worked really hard for that change. I gotta do something. So first, I rack the shotgun. Hey, motherfucker, click-clack. That click-clack sound will stop a rational human being in their tracks. So sure enough, this person is not rational. They're sick on drugs. They're digging in the change. I gotta act fast. This nigga's almost got $1.50. I warned you, birdshot. And there it goes. Hot BBs will permeate his yellow heroin skin. Remember, I'm not killing him. I'm just peppering him up nice. He lets out a heroin scream. But, I miscalculated. While he's on the ground screaming, I noticed that his teeth are horribly miscolored. That's not heroin at all, is it? That's crystal meth. He pops right back up unscathed. Roar! Time for the heavy stuff. Clack, clack, buckshot! And then if you got a friend with him, I got one more bird shot left. And I repeat the cycle. After that, it's slugs for everybody. And I'll be in a kitchen full of dang heroin addicts saying stupid heroin last words. You shot me, bro. Oh, it hurts me, man. It hurt. The last words are always the dumbest words. Why is your dick out?